Oh, no, 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 no. I thought I told you never to call me here.
I'm sorry, Captain, but somebody has to review the new Star Trek movie.
Set phasers on stun, good luck, wacko out. Star Trek. J.J. Abrams' Star Trek has definitively brought in the blockbuster season, and everybody loves it. But there's a small group, myself included, that just hate what it's done to Trek. And you're probably wondering why. So to help you understand, I'm bringing you the top 5 reasons the new Star Trek sucks. Reason number 5, destroying a priceless part of Earth's history because you're mad at your stepdad. I mean, think of it for a second. We're in the future. They have flying cars. They can go to outer space. They've met alien races. Nobody's making cars anymore. I don't know how his stepdad got it, or I don't know why he was mad at his stepdad, but he has disserviced humanity by driving it over this very convenient cliff in the middle of Iowa. Who's going to fix it? I mean, yes, they could, but they're not going to. It doesn't make him a likable rogue, it just makes him an asshole. Reason number 4, Nero's motivations. This is a guy that's so angry that he sits and waits for 25 years doing nothing else but just thinking about how he's going to get back at Spock. And it never occurs to him once to go warn Romulus that there's a supernova on the way. You could say, oh, he's in another dimension so he doesn't care, but doesn't he disservice the Nero of that dimension in the same way that he was wronged? It really doesn't hold up. Reason number 3, lackluster science. Believe it or not, most Trekkies don't really want to talk about technobabble. Inverse tachyon fields and things like that are a joke even to us. But the science in this one is ridiculous. How are you going to save a planet from supernova with a black hole? Think about it for a second. I'm going to stop an explosion with an implosion. Hooray! We're not going to be destroyed by our sun. Instead, we're going to be destroyed by our lack of sun! Reason number 2, the destruction of Vulcan. Oh, well, at least Spock wasn't killed and he's a main character and that's all that matters. Except for the fact that he's based on the idea of always being the outsider, never quite human, never quite Vulcan, never quite belonging. Well, let's see here. There's only 10,000 people left. Repopulation of the species is number 1 priority. You can mate with humans, you say? More than once every 7 years? Suddenly, hybrids become a real viable possibility, especially to a planet based on logic. All of a sudden, Spock's no longer the outsider. All of a sudden, he is the template on how the species should survive. This isn't even mentioning the damage it's going to do to the entire Federation. And the number 1 reason that the new Star Trek sucks is it destroyed the old Star Trek. If this was a reboot, you actually wouldn't see this much anger, but they went to great pains to bring this into the canon of the show. And if you've watched any episode with time travel, you'll know that if you go back in time and don't fix it, it changes the future. Now that Vulcan's gone, it changes everything. The original series, Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, the only show that's still canon is Enterprise, and that's just ridiculous. And even if that's not the case, and they go back to show that this is another dimension, why would that be relevant? You ever watch one of those shows where they go to another dimension? It's just an excuse to kill off main characters, like Vulcan. It doesn't really mean anything because it's not really happening to the Prime universe. Don't you see what happens? Eventually, the timeline will correct itself, and when it does...
Chris Pines did an excellent job as T.J. Hooker. I'm just not convinced that it needed the reboot it received. If you think differently, please leave a comment below. I'm Weldon Smiley. Join me next time when we review Little House on the Prairie, The Next Generation.